Hi, welcome to today's vlog post on When Friendship Hurts. I read this book, sorry it's backwards, but When Friendship Hurts by Jan Yeager, PhD, or Jan, sorry, I'm not sure about the pronunciation. It's how to deal with friends who betray, abandon, or wound you. And I learned so much from this book about the friends that I had hurt and friends that had hurt me. Thinking about it from their perspective and how maybe I contributed to some of that hurt when I didn't realize it before. Great examples from people who have gone through various types of friendship hurts. I recommend this book if you're going through some friendship issues. It really helped me, and I hope it helps you too if you decide to read it. Okay. When friendship hurts. There are many ways that friends are awesome, but friends can be hurtful too. Moving away. One of my best friends moved away and I was crushed. I didn't know how I could handle it. I thought I'd never see him again. Well, I did see him again. And we called and we wrote back and forth. And we visited and emailed and messaged each other. And we fell out of touch and then back in touch over the years. But I realized change is a natural way of life. Moving on is a natural thing to do. And it doesn't have to mean the end of a friendship. And I learned that this person was always really with me in spirit. And that was comforting. And I learned to move on, but never forgetting that person. Death can be final. This is pretty final. And it's a jarring situation. It's a jarring feeling when you lose someone that you're close to. But take the time that you need in all these situations of loss and hurt. Take the time you need to mend, to heal, to move on. Everyone's different. Could take 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever is right for you, that's what you go by. You may deal with the death in the form of a memorial to that person with pictures and mementos from your life together. You may deal with it through going to old haunts, places that you used to vacation together or go for a burger together. You may laugh at the memories of funny stories, funny things that happened between the two of you. You may cry buckets because you miss the person so much. All of that is part of the healing process. Do what you need to do to heal and move on. Abandonment. What if a person just walks out of your life, is really angry with you for some reason that you have no idea why they feel that way? It can be like a knife in the heart. Or even if you do know why they're angry, you're wondering, why is it so intense? Why can't it be fixed? Why can't you reconcile? But if they are determined to be out of your life, you need to learn to move on. Again, in time. Betrayal. Someone tells another friend something you told them in confidence. They lie to you. They cheat you. They steal from you. And that can be just heart-wrenching and angering. You don't know why they would do such a thing to you. And maybe you could forgive them. But if it is something that you just can't forgive them for, give yourself time. But in the end, if you can't trust them again, it's time to move on. Changing lifestyles. You have a friend who used to be really fit, who's now gained 100 pounds. A person who never smoked or drank or did drugs is now running with a different crowd and doing those things. You don't know why, and you can't accept this different way of life. You can maybe try an intervention to see if the person will agree to that and stop doing what they're doing. But if it doesn't work and you try everything, it's time to move on. Becoming less radical or more radical. What if a person that you know, a really good friend of yours, starts to be really radical politically or religiously or in another way, and you just don't know them anymore? Or you are a radical person, or you are really emotional and really intense about something, and someone says, hey, well, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't believe in this anymore. Either way, you may be angry, you may not know what this person is up to, what made them change, and you can't understand it. You don't want to work with this person on this issue. Then it's time to say goodbye. But everybody has differences of opinion, politically, religiously, and otherwise. That's different. This is more radical one way or the other. If you just don't know this person anymore, and they're doing things you out and out do not agree with at all, your values do not match this at all, then maybe it is time to move on. Gender transition. What if your friend comes to you and says they are a man and they want to become a woman, or vice versa? It can be confusing and also frightening, because maybe you're thinking this friend might be bullied or beaten or even killed because of their gender transition plans. The big thing to do is get information, communicate, and be there for your friend. You were a friend of theirs before this decision. You can be a friend of theirs after this decision. If they're really a friend of yours, you'll be there for them. If this goes against your total belief system and you cannot wrap your head around it, you cannot accept it at all, you're angry, you're hurt, you're, ticked off, then you need to communicate that and you need to move on. I would recommend the first option, but if you can't reconcile this, you need to move on. The person going through the transition needs people around him or her that are supportive. Not somebody who's on the fence and not somebody who's belligerent. You need to move on. You find out your closest friend is gay or lesbian. This is another situation where you may be confused or angry or frightened that they may suffer a backlash. Communication again. Talk things over. If you have questions, ask them. Ask them tactfully, but ask them. And be there for your friend. Unless, again, you are so adamantly against what they're doing. Of coming to grips with their sexuality and being honest with their sexuality. If you cannot wrap your head around that and you can't accept them for who they are, you need to move on and let them surround themselves with people who do understand them and care about them enough to let them do what they feel is right for them. But again, communication is huge. Talk things over. Clear the air. And understand where they're coming from. And have them understand where you're coming from. And see if you can't come together on this subject. If you can't, move on. Death on September 11th. Did you lose a friend on September 11th, 2001, 16 years ago, today? Does it still hurt as much as it did then? Do you distrust people more since then? Do you find that you don't get as close to friends now than you did then? Because you're afraid to lose them? How did it affect you? How did it affect your friendships? This was a senseless act. It's different from dying from a disease or an accident, somebody falling off a building or something, or like my husband, he fell off a ladder and almost died. It's different. It's more vicious. It's more senseless. I mean, all death is senseless. I mean, it's all, maybe not senseless, but it's all hard to understand. It's all hard to come to grips with. But this is just the worst, I think. Other than someone, individual. This is such a massive thing of so many people dying in the same incident. It's different from, say, a murder individually. That hurts. But this is so mind-boggling that, you know, how do you deal with it? How did you deal with it? Did you know someone in the buildings, in the planes, some of the rescue workers that died? Did you know anybody? I didn't personally, but I know people who did know people who died. And it's just something that, do you ever get over it? Do you ever find peace with it? I hope that you can. And that you remember your loved ones fondly if you did lose someone on that day. And that you were able to move on and live your life happily again. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next video on Wednesday. Take care.